Welcome back to Motivational Wealth, where we unlock your financial potential. We're diving deep today into the world of billionaires, trying to uncover these money rules they use to build these massive fortunes. And we're going to be looking at a video from the Trip to Wealth YouTube channel called 20 Hidden Money Rules Billionaires Follow. Get ready. This is some pretty powerful stuff.
I think what's really cool about this is it's not like, magic formulas or get-rich-quick schemes. It's like real mindsets and strategies that we can take away and apply.
Yeah, for sure. And I think this first one kind of stood out to me. It's this whole idea of losing money strategically. They use examples like Amazon and Tesla. Like, these companies weren't always profitable at the beginning.
Right? It's like sometimes you have to go all in, even if it means losing in the short term to really win big down the road. It's almost like how, venture capitalists look at startups. A lot of those startups fail. But if you get that one big winner,
Right, right.
it pays off huge. So they kind of approach their own ventures that same way.
So it's not about being reckless. It's like calculated risk-taking. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, they also talk about how billionaires are really savvy with debt, like understanding different types of debt. They often use these instruments called venture debt or convertible notes. They're designed for these high-growth companies.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're playing a different game than, someone just trying to avoid credit card debt or something.
Yeah, for sure. So, another rule they highlight is this whole thing of billionaires prioritizing power over money. It's not just about how much wealth they can get, but like using it to gain influence, to kind of shape the world.
Right. It's an interesting point they make. They use the example of these tech giants investing heavily in politics.
Right.
Or media, becoming kingmakers in a sense.
It's almost like they're playing chess, but like on a global scale.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
And I think that ties in perfectly with the next point, which is monetizing attention.
Hmm.
They use figures like Kim Kardashian and Mr. Beast. These people have built empires by capturing attention.
Oh, yeah. Attention is the new currency, right?
Yeah.
If you really understand that in today's world, being able to get people's attention, that's huge.
And they even go so far as to use examples like Bezos with the Washington Post and Elon Musk with Twitter.
It's about owning the platforms where those conversations happen.
Exactly. So it's like in this digital age, just building an audience can be as valuable as physical assets.
Like think Substack or Patreon. It's changed the game for creators.
Right. So much more to it than just what you own, but who's listening to you. How are you using that influence?
Right.
And this next one, I think, is an interesting contrast because they talk about billionaires prioritizing experiences over possessions. They talk about investing in these masterminds, these private dinners, mentorship, things that most people don't have access to.
Yeah, so it's not about, just buying a yacht or a fancy car. It's about getting access to knowledge, to networks that are just not available to most people. They want that edge.
Right. So it's like they're not just buying luxury, they're buying opportunity.
Exactly. It's like they're constantly leveling up.
Yeah, they're playing this long game. And speaking of leveling up, they talk about being boring with money. They use examples like Warren Buffett, who's lived in the same house forever, and Zuckerberg with his, basic clothing. It's not about that extravagant lifestyle.
It's about being laser focused.
Right.
They understand if they just blow all their money, that's not going to help them reach their goals.
It's like their whole mindset is just set on, the long game.
It's a good point. It's not about impressing anyone else.
Right. Yeah. And this next one is a big one I think a lot of people struggle with, but it's understanding taxes.
Oh, yeah.
They make it clear that billionaires learn about tax law and they use legal strategies to minimize their burden.
They don't just avoid it. They really get into it.
Right.
They'll work with experts, find the best way to structure their income so they can keep more of what they earn.
Yeah, and they point out, this isn't just for the super rich, right? Anyone can learn about these basic strategies.
It's like using a 401k or a Roth IRA.
Right.
It's all about learning, taking control of your future.
Yeah. All right, so speaking of taking control, the next rule we're going to dive into is passive income.
Okay, yeah.
And this is where they really kind of get into the nuts and bolts of building systems that generate income automatically. So their wealth is working for them 24/7.
It's like you're not just trading time for money anymore.
Right.
You're building these assets that work for you, even while you sleep, like Amazon Prime.
Oh, yeah.
You subscribe, they get that recurring income.
Right.
Netflix, the same thing.
So it's about working smarter.
Working smarter, not harder.
Not just harder, yeah. So it's like, Whether it's rental properties or online businesses or dividend stocks, the goal is to build that income stream
Multiple streams.
that just keeps flowing. All right, so before we dive deeper into passive income and these remaining rules, let's take a quick pause. When we come back, we'll explore how billionaires approach luxury, legacy, and even how they protect their wealth from potential threats. So stay with us.
Welcome back to Motivational Wealth.
So before the break, we were talking about passive income, and I'm curious, like, what specific strategies do these billionaires use?
Well, one thing they highlight is investing in luxury brands
Mm.
and companies instead of just buying the luxury items themselves.
So instead of like buying the fancy car, you invest in the car company.
Exactly. They understand that these luxury brands, they tend to hold their value really well and even go up in value over time.
Right, so it's like playing the stock market, but with like luxury goods and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty interesting. And, speaking of long-term thinking, the next rule really stood out to me. It was this whole focus on legacy over retirement. They talk about how billionaires, they don't view work as like just a means to an end.
It's like a lifelong pursuit for them.
Right, they want to make a real impact, not just, build a bunch of wealth and then retire to some island.
Right, exactly. It's not about escaping the rat race.
Yeah,
It's about finding that race that's worth running.
that's a good way to put it. It's pretty inspiring, actually.
It really is. They see their wealth as a tool
Mm.
to create something bigger than themselves.
Yeah.
Something that'll benefit future generations.
It's a good reminder that real wealth isn't just about the money.
Right.
It's about that impact you make. And I think that ties in really well with this last rule, protecting your legacy. This is something I think a lot of people don't even consider. But it's shielding that wealth. So billionaires are experts at this,
Oh,
right?
right.
Protecting their assets,
Oh,
whether
yeah.
it's lawsuits or creditors or just, making bad financial decisions.
It's about protecting what you've earned.
Right.
They use trusts, LLCs, even offshore accounts sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Right. It sounds kind of complicated, but the video makes it clear that you don't have to be a billionaire to benefit from some of these strategies.
Yeah, anyone can implement these basic asset protection strategies,
Sure.
like having good insurance coverage or setting up a simple trust.
So it's not about like hiding your money. It's more about protecting it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You work hard for it. You want to keep it safe
Right. And that's what it's all about, making that money work for you and your family.
for years to come.
For years to come, exactly. Well, this has been a really fascinating look into the world of billionaires, and I think we've all learned something valuable today.
Yeah, no matter what our financial situation is right now.
These rules, they're really about mindset,
Strategy.
long-term thinking.
Taking control of your finances
Mm.
and really creating that life of abundance.
And we want to thank all of you for being a part of the Motivational Wealth community.
Yeah,
Your support really means the world to us.
it really does.
And we're so grateful you're here with us on this journey. We truly believe that everyone has the potential to achieve financial freedom.
Everyone.
It's just about believing in yourself
Making smart choices
and not giving up on those dreams.
and never giving up.
So keep learning
Keep growing.
and keep striving for greatness.
You got this.
You've got this. Thanks for tuning in to Motivational Wealth. We'll be back next week with another deep dive into the strategies and mindsets to help you unlock that financial potential. Until then, remember, you've got this.
Welcome back to Motivational Wealth.
We've been going through these hidden money rules that billionaires follow, and I'm still thinking about that whole thing of how they prioritize experiences over possessions. It's not about buying the fancy stuff. It's about, like, getting access to that knowledge and those networks.
Right, and I think a lot of people just don't even realize those things exist.
Yeah,
It's like a whole different level of access and opportunity.
right.
They talk about masterminds and private dinners with people who are movers and shakers. Those are things that money can't buy, at least not directly.
Right. They're looking for an edge, constantly trying to surround themselves with people who can, like, challenge them and open doors for them.
Exactly. And that kind of brings us back to something we talked about earlier, that concept of losing money strategically.
Okay.
These experiences they invest in, those mentorships, those connections, they can be seen as losses in the short term.
So you're saying, like, paying thousands of dollars to go to a mastermind is a loss? I wouldn't really look at it like that.
It's about perspective and thinking long term.
Yeah.
That upfront cost might seem huge, but the knowledge you gain, the people you meet, the potential opportunities, those can pay off way more than that initial
So
investment.
it's like a calculated risk, kind of like investing in a startup that might not even work out.
Right, exactly. They're willing to take those risks, even financial ones, because they see the potential,
Mm.
down the line. And that ties back to that whole being boring with money thing.
Hmm.
They're not wasting money on frivolous stuff because they need those resources to invest in these experiences that most people don't even have access to.
So it's like they're always playing that long game, making moves today that'll set them up for even bigger things tomorrow.
Exactly.
Okay.
And, that brings us to that last rule, shielding their wealth, because they understand that it's not just about making the money. It's about protecting it, too.
Yeah, they don't just throw it in a savings account and hope for the best.
Right. The video talks about trusts and LLCs,
Mm.
even offshore accounts in some cases. It's all about using those legal and financial structures to keep that wealth safe.
So it's not about hiding money. It's about like protecting it from lawsuits or bad decisions.
Right. It's like building a fortress around your wealth. So it's there for future generations.
Yeah.
This has been a really fascinating look into the world of billionaires, and I think we've all learned a lot today.
I agree, no matter where we are on our own financial journeys.
It's about mindset. It's about strategy. It's about taking control.
And we want to thank all of you for being a part of the Motivational Wealth community. Your support means the world to us.
We really appreciate it.
And we're so glad you're here with us, learning and growing together. We believe that everyone has the potential to achieve financial freedom. It's about believing in yourself, making smart choices, and never giving up on those dreams. So keep learning, keep growing, and keep striving for greatness.
Yeah, you got this.
You've got this. Thanks for tuning in to Motivational Wealth. We'll be back next week with another deep dive to help you unlock your financial potential. Until then, remember, you've got this.